Breaking news. Canada declares tighter student visa caps and work permits in major immigration overhaul. Welcome back to Canada Chronicles. Today, we're diving into a major development, Canada's sweeping changes to immigration policies that are already causing a nationwide stir. The government has announced significant restrictions on international student permits and spousal work permits, raising serious questions about what these changes mean for students, workers, and their families. We'll break down exactly what's happening, what the government hopes to achieve, and why critics are warning this could have long-lasting consequences for Canada's future as a top destination for global talent. Stay tuned, because later in the video, we'll explore a critical question: is Canada's global competitiveness in jeopardy? You won't want to miss that. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay updated on the latest immigration news. Let's get started. The announcement. Major changes to international student permits. In a bold move, Immigration Minister Marc Miller and Labour Minister Randy Boissonnault announced on September 18, 2024, new caps on international student permits, reducing the number from 485,000 in 2024 to 437,000 by 2025. The aim is to address concerns about housing shortages, labor market pressures, and fraud within the immigration system. Officials argue that the rapid rise in international students has worsened housing crises in cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Limiting the number of students entering the country is seen as a way to ease pressure on housing and public services that have been stretched thin due to rapid population growth. However, universities and colleges that rely heavily on international tuition fees are raising alarms. Critics warn that a decrease in student numbers could lead to a significant drop in enrollment, hitting not just educational institutions but also local economies hard, particularly in smaller towns that benefit from international student populations. In addition, educational institutions worry that the reduced number of international students could affect not only their financial health but also the diversity of their student bodies. International students bring different perspectives, cultural exchange, and global networks, all of which enhance the academic environment. With fewer students, universities may see a decline in these valuable contributions, potentially impacting the overall learning experience for all students, both domestic and international. Spouse work permit restrictions. A major blow to families. In addition to capping student numbers, the government introduced stricter work permit rules for the spouses of international students and temporary foreign workers. Under the new rules, only the spouses of students enrolled in master's, doctoral, or professional degree programs lasting at least 16 months will be eligible for open work permits. Previously, many spouses could work freely in Canada, which allowed families to settle and integrate more easily while contributing to the economy. This restriction has drawn fierce criticism from both immigrant advocates and education experts. Many argue that limiting work permits for spouses will deter talented international students and workers from coming to Canada. Family stability is seen as a key factor when choosing where to study or work abroad, and if spouses can't work, families may opt for other countries with more flexible policies. Additionally, experts point out the emotional and psychological burden these changes could place on families. Many spouses, particularly those unable to work, may experience feelings of isolation, limited social integration, and financial dependency. These restrictions could also result in increased stress for international students and workers, who must balance the pressures of academics or employment while supporting a spouse with reduced opportunities. This may lead families to reconsider their long-term commitment to staying in Canada, further affecting the country's reputation as a welcoming destination for immigrants. Changes for temporary foreign workers. Tighter eligibility rules. The shakeup doesn't stop with students and their families. Temporary foreign workers, a vital part of Canada's workforce, are also facing tighter restrictions. In an effort to crack down on LMIA fraud, the government is introducing stricter controls on work permits and increasing penalties for employers who violate labor laws. As part of these new rules, work permits for spouses of foreign workers will be limited to those working in managerial or high-demand sectors. The goal is to prevent exploitation and misuse of the LMIA process, ensuring that only those who are genuinely contributing to the Canadian labor market can stay. However, there are concerns that essential workers and their families could face increased barriers to staying in the country, further straining sectors like healthcare and agriculture that heavily rely on temporary foreign labor. Another critical aspect of these changes is the potential shortage of labor in industries that are already facing severe staff shortages. Temporary foreign workers often fill gaps in sectors such as agriculture, construction, and caregiving. By limiting work permits and tightening regulations, these industries could face further disruptions, which may slow down economic recovery and create additional challenges for businesses that depend on a steady influx of skilled and unskilled labor. Thanks for staying with us this far. We appreciate your time and hope you're finding this information valuable. Now, let's dive into the core debate surrounding these changes and how they may affect Canada's global competitiveness. Canada's global competitiveness in jeopardy? With these sweeping changes, a critical question arises: will Canada remain competitive in attracting international talent? Historically, Canada has been a beacon for international students and skilled workers, thanks to its welcoming immigration policies and high quality of life. However, the recent caps and restrictions have raised concerns that Canada could lose its edge in the global talent race. Countries like Australia, the United States, and the United Kingdom are ramping up efforts to attract international students and highly skilled workers. Canada, by imposing restrictions on both students and their families, could drive talent elsewhere. International students not only contribute to academic institutions but also play a vital role in research, innovation, and the labor market, particularly in sectors facing critical shortages. Moreover, the spousal work permit restrictions may deter potential immigrants, as family stability is often a key factor when choosing a destination. Other countries may offer more flexible work opportunities for spouses, giving them a competitive edge over Canada. In addition to immediate challenges, experts are warning of a potential long-term brain drain. If Canada becomes less attractive to top global talent, other countries could capitalize on this, recruiting the brightest students and professionals. This shift could have a cascading effect on Canada's innovation sector and its overall economic growth, particularly in industries that rely heavily on high-skilled workers such as technology, engineering, and healthcare. The loss of potential innovators could weaken Canada's competitive position on the global stage. Potential solutions. What can be done? While the government justifies these changes as necessary to protect public services and housing, critics suggest several alternative solutions that could address these issues without compromising Canada's appeal to international talent. 1. Invest in affordable housing. One of the root causes of the housing crisis is a lack of affordable housing, particularly in major cities. By investing in affordable housing projects, Canada could alleviate pressure on the rental market without needing to reduce the number of international students. 2. Streamline pathways to permanent residency. Instead of capping student permits, the government could consider offering streamlined pathways to permanent residency for graduates in high-demand fields. This would encourage international students to stay long-term, contributing to the workforce and economy. 3. Stronger employer accountability. Rather than limiting work permits for spouses, the government could focus on improving employer accountability and increasing penalties for those who exploit the LMIA process. By cracking down on fraudulent employers, Canada can protect its labor market without restricting opportunities for families. What happens next? As Canada grapples with these changes, it's clear the debate is far from over. Educational institutions, immigrant advocacy groups, and affected families are likely to continue pushing back against the restrictions, while the government remains firm in its goal to protect public services and housing. For those affected by the new policies, staying informed will be crucial as the government begins implementing these caps and restrictions in the coming year. While some see these changes as necessary to manage population growth, others worry that they could damage Canada's status as a top destination for international talent. As we've explored, these new immigration policies will have a significant impact on international students, foreign workers, and their families. While the government aims to address housing shortages and labor market issues, the long-term effects on Canada's global appeal are still up for debate. The cap on student permits, stricter work permits for spouses, and tighter regulations for temporary foreign workers will reshape Canadian immigration. The key question is whether Canada can balance these reforms while maintaining its competitive edge in the global talent market. That's all for today's update on Canada's latest immigration policies. Let us know in the comments how you think these changes will affect Canada's future. Don't forget to subscribe to Canada Chronicles for more updates and insights into the latest immigration news and policy changes. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an important update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.